At the end of the last video, I set a goal to find historical data that connects Israel becoming a nation in 1948 with the book of Revelations, chapter 11. I drew up a plan to help me achieve my goal. The first thing was to read the prophecy. So I opened my Bible and started reading Revelations 11. I'll paraphrase from the New International Version, but essentially here's what it says. I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days. During that time, the holy city Jerusalem will be trampled underfoot by the Gentiles. At the end of the 1,260 days, the beast that comes up from the abyss will attack them and overpower and kill them. Their bodies will lie in the streets for 3.5 days. At the end of the 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud. At that very hour, there was a severe earthquake, and 1/10 of the city, Jerusalem, collapsed. 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake. And the survivors were terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven. This is the end of the second woe. Now that's interesting because the beginning of the second woe is the 6th trumpet.
Whoa. This is not my Batman glass.
So Revelations 11 and Israel 1948 are part of the 6th trumpet. The Apostle John is pretty much in your face about this. So I'm thinking about the 2 witnesses and about the 1,260 days. I need to talk to someone who can help me understand what this all means. The imagery is gruesome and there's a lot of killing going on. I know just the guy.
Oh, honey. Oh, so good to see you again.
We talked about the 1948 data points. Keanu had done a ton of research. I was fascinated. I was in. The data is there, you just gotta know where to look.
Firstly, 1 day in prophecy means 1 year of real time. This is the day-year principle and it's undisputed. So 1260 days means 1260 years of real time. 3.5 days means 3.5 years of real time. The second thing is this: prophets are like poets. Creative writing, imagery, metaphors. So an earthquake might describe a war. And one more thing. They stood on their feet. The prophet Ezekiel used the same metaphor. It means Israel will be restored as a nation. The Apostle John is quoting from Ezekiel chapter 37. It's widely accepted that this chapter is a prophecy about Israel being restored. So when the Apostle John writes they stood on their feet, he's saying this is the exact same prophecy spoken of by Ezekiel. I hope that helps.
So 1,260 days of prophecy means 1,260 years of real time. The Rapture Ready team have explained how there were 20 years between the fall of Jerusalem and the end of World War II, and the prophet Daniel describes this period as 7 times. This is all covered in the Overview Part 2 video on their YouTube channel. So 20 years is 2 periods of 1,260 years. Starting from the middle of the 7 times, there are exactly 1,260 years to the end of World War II, and this is the 1,260 years that the 2 witnesses have prophesied. Past tense. It's history. Clearly, the 2 witnesses are not 2 individual people. I know we're living longer these days, but not that long. My best guess is they're a metaphor for the Jewish people, but we'll get to that soon enough. For now, I want to resolve the 1,260 years. So the prophet Daniel wrote a prophecy about the middle of the 7 times. He wrote that in the middle of the 7, the abomination of desolation will be set up on a wing of the temple. This means in 685 AD, the abomination of desolation will be set up on a wing of the temple. Jesus himself taught his disciples about the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel. He also said it would be set up or standing in the holy place, a wing of the temple. Based on Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, the abomination of desolation was set up in 685 AD. And note that Daniel was the first one to prophesy about 1,260 years. Also, note this. Both the Apostle John and Jesus 100% backed Daniel up on the abomination and the 1,260 years. The Dome of the Rock gives us the hard data we need to identify it as the abomination of desolation and as the beginning of the 1,260 years that the 2 witnesses, meaning the Jews, would bear witness. It was constructed or set up in the middle of the 7 on the site of Solomon's temple. A shrine worshiping another god is idolatry, which is an abomination to the God of Daniel. Together with the 1,260 years to the end of World War II and the Holocaust gives us 5 hard data points. Identifying the abomination prophesied in Daniel chapter 9 with the Dome of the Rock is a sensitive matter, and we need to be respectful about how we present our findings. So here's Stewie Griffin from Family Guy to help explain all of this.
You do realize that some of your viewers will be Muslim, right?
Huh?
So you're saying the abomination is the thing on the thing? You know, the thing on the thing? All right. Let me read this first, silently. I'm not saying I'm doing this. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. I see. And you want me to read this. That's why you called me in. Oh, I see now. Yes, it all makes sense. This is what the computers came up with. At first I was thinking this is a little anti-religious, but then computers don't think like that. You're simply going where the data leads you. Really just following the bouncing ball. I mean, I can relate to bouncing balls. This is simply the result of searching the internet, yes? Well, why didn't you just say so in the first place, silly?
What the deuce?
I'm now halfway through my plan, and I'm feeling good about these findings, but there's still a lot of work to do. Okay, let's move on.